Hello and welcome to PopCulture Reacts, and it's finally time for me to bring my favourite band and one of the greatest punk bands of all time, and the inventors of horrorcore and bringing horror lyrics from horror films into music and making fun little ditties. It's time for the Misfits.
And you've been wearing that T-shirt for 7 months now, waiting for this song, haven't you? So I think it was finally time to allow it to be played.
And we are going with Skulls. Obviously, you've seen me wearing Misfit stuff many a time. You know of them from me, obviously waxing lyrical about them. But what?
Yeah.
Have you ever?
I have friends who love them, and I would say that they were, I said when we talked about Half Man, Half Biscuit a few videos ago, they were a band that would not often, but would be on night shift rotations to be played. So I have heard songs, but I would say it not kind of fixated on them, not got any of the tracks myself or anything like that, but certainly I have a familiarity and like a fine familiarity with it. And like, it was not like, oh God, we put that back on again. It was sort of like, yes, that's good. It was an eclectic mix, the night shift mixes over the years, so it didn't feel out of place in that mix.
And also a wrestling connection, as they were in WCW for a while with Vampiro.
Yeah.
And
who doesn't love a bit of Vampiro? Although I think Taylor doesn't. I'm sure in our last, or one of our stretch mufflers over the All Out weekend, I think there was a confession there to not liking Vampiro, which I was a big fan.
Vampiro was my boy, but
criminally underutilized, and probably, unfortunately for him, injuries at the worst time, and being in a company that was crashing and burning at the worst time.
Yes. So the reason we are starting this 53 seconds into the video is because there is not an official video for this. Yeah. Someone has fan made this with some old school horror movie aesthetics.
Yes, everything in it is from 1931 version of Frankenstein, and I imagine this bit that gets us up to 53 seconds is probably the start of the 1931 Frankenstein, where your man comes out and talks about what you're about to see. So we felt we'd spare you the 53 seconds, although I guess if you're a big Frankenstein fan, you might go heathens, but that's not the purpose of us here. We can react to the 1931 Frankenstein movie on another day in another universe.
That's for another time in another video.
Yeah.
But for now, are we ready for some Misfits?
We blooming well are. Let's go.
Put them on my wall. Hack the heads off little girls and put them on my wall.
Especially to do with kids.
Oh! Oh! I want your love. I need your love. I want your love.
Burn him.
Burn him.
Burn him.
So,
It's not an official video. I will say, kind of fancy watching the 1931 Frankenstein now after having that on. And it reminded me, somewhere in this room, I have the Funko Pop from that version of Frankenstein where he's holding the flower that he gives to the kid.
ooh.
Yeah.
So what do you think of Skulls?
I really like the music. I think that's great. I think it's fun, exciting, catchy, and an edge. I think it kind of encompasses all of that in the good way that punk can. Like it can almost, you could argue like it could swing into pop in a different universe because it is so catchy, but it's just kind of got always that extra edge to it that keeps it cool rather than trite. So musically really kind of big fan of it. Vocals, I would say 80% of the time I really liked it, 20% of the time not so much, but that's a relatively good mix. And I think it was more when he was singing. I'm going to go with kind of the more chorus, maybe the more melodic part where they're actually doing the skulls bit. I think that's where it lost me. I think tonally quite flat at that point. But when he's doing the more punk vocals, I think that's where it comes to his fore, and I think he sounds great on that bit. I would say stick with that bit and maybe get someone to sing the chorus and the melodies for you.
So Danzig, the singer, Evil Elvis, as he goes into becoming more known as later on, I love him vocally, and you know, who else can write us a love song about hacking the heads of girls and putting them on his wall and collecting skulls?
I mean, it doesn't sound very romantic, I'm going to be honest.
But, you know, nothing says I love you more than I want your skull and I need your skull. You know?
Maybe.
But yeah, no, I fucking love this. I am hoping at some point we get the original Misfits lineup do a tour and come to the UK, because they've been doing dates in America for the last sort of couple of years, because there was a massive falling out between Danzig and Jerry Only. Jerry Only went off and kept the Misfits name and redid the Misfits in the 90s and has been running it since. Danzig went off and did his solo album as Danzig and his multiple other bits and pieces that he has done, and never.
How does his post Misfits stuff go for you? Is it as good, or does it miss? Because you often get this, don't you? A band is amazing, and the band is amazing because of all its constituent parts are great. So you think, well, actually, if you split them down into their own individual bits, it would be a lot more great. But actually, you find that it's them en masse that really sort of knits together.
See, Danzig's solo albums, I like the first few, but then he goes a bit more crooner, and I'm like, I'm not a massive fan of the crooner Danzig stuff.
Lounge Lizard kind of crooner, Vegas style crooner,
more trying to be Elvis crooner.
Well, which is what I think of Vegas style crooner. Like, I know that Elvis was around for a long time, but as far as I'm concerned, he was born in a jumpsuit in Vegas and he died in a jumpsuit in Vegas.
But yeah, so with the rest of them, they all Danzig obviously went off. Doyle and Jerry Only stayed on, did the Misfits 90s stuff, which is much more 90s metal than the original couple of albums, which is very much punk. Doyle does his own solo stuff, which sounds like Doyle because that punching guitar sound that he does, where it's just big chug riffs, still there. I just love pretty much everything these lot all do, and yeah, one day I will.
sorry, I was going to say, was the split kind of creative differences split? Like, because you sort of said about how they kind of went on to be a bit more metal after he went. Do you reckon that was where the divide happened, or was it something?
No, they had a mass falling out on stage. They were in the middle of a set, and Danzig then decided halfway through the set that this was going to be their last ever gig. They finished the set and went their own separate ways. Very interesting tour de force with the Misfits. They were only together in their original form for about 5-6 years.
Yeah.
But the legacy has gone on since then. It was like 78 or 77 to like 82. That's it. And then it wasn't until, as I said recently, that we've had the reunions of getting them back together. But yeah, I've seen a version of the Misfits. I've seen Jerry Only's solo Misfits, where it's just him and some other guys, but he's the only original one there. They've played the Waterfront twice in Orange, and I'm like,
yeah,
I had to go. But I've never seen the full original thing. And if anyone wants to give us lots of money and can get me to Texas for Halloween, because it's the original Misfits with Alice Cooper as support, I will be your friend forever.
and if you're going to give us money, I'll pretend I'm going to the Misfits and Texas. And it's less seeing Misfits, it's more, I ain't going to Texas. I'll go to America, but I'm not going to Texas. It's weird. While you were talking, I did get up the Wikipedia, and as we know, everything's pure fact on Wikipedia,
yep,
like about the band split up, and like Danzig kind of quote of kind of going, effectively, they were lazy fucks, and I wanted to move this on, and they kind of just wanted to carry on doing what they were doing, which is, I guess, to a degree admirable for like someone who's got like ambition to kind of go, yeah. Come on, guys, we can go somewhere. And if they're just going, we just want to get hammered and just knock out songs quickly, then I can see where the frustration might have come from. But yeah, as I say, probably a really big shame, isn't it? Because them in that original form is probably all of them at their most enjoyable or best, even possibly.
Yeah. As I said, they created a genre, they perfected a genre. There have been many tried to do horror punk since, but nothing beats the Misfits for horror punk. So,
were you saying that does remind me? I'll slip a little horror hip hop song onto the spreadsheet. Maybe for Halloween time we can revisit some spooky musical genres and their attempts at horror sort of stuff.
Yes. So there's your October, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
Horror and beer. Oktoberfest and horror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, will you listen to some more of the Misfits?
Yeah, Joe.
I mean, interested in going further down that well.
It's almost weird because, like, as I say, they've been out there, as in listen. Like I've listened to them before, and I just don't think of them. And for no real reason other than I think they just kind of slip off the radar for me. And then I'll see a T-shirt or someone I know will be talking about them. And I'll go, yeah, I must remember to listen to them again. They certainly wouldn't not be. I think I'd have to be in the right mood. And when I say in the right mood, like when we talk about like bursting through different genres of music, sometimes with punk, I am right in the mood for some punk. But I wouldn't say it's something that I'm in the mood for very often. Yeah, it's like 5%, 10% of my music listening. I'm more than happy for that. But I guess I need to, not necessarily be angry, but I kind of need to. I think I want something that kind of makes me pump me up a little bit. Yeah.
So yes, we will definitely be back with some more Misfits at some point.
Yeah.
And any suggestions for Misfits songs? Because if not, I'll be the one that picks where we're going. If you want to have a go, tell us what you want, Misfits wise. Put them down there, and you can go in the winter list,
the spreadsheet, and also
Halloween.
Yeah, Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, like, and even if it's not that, any kind of Halloween-esque horror-y sort of stuff, because we're doing this kind of on the fly. But yeah, maybe we'll kind of over that Halloween week run, maybe releases of sort of 5 to 6 to 7 or whatever videos over that week of more horror related or spooky songs.
Exactly. So until next time, I want your skull.
I don't even know. Apparently, it's romantic.
And goodbye.